distinguished participants that are here, please permit me to do this protocol. I was properly brought up. And then the reason why I actually quickly came to the podium is so that she can stop the long speech. It was really very long, okay? The DG CEO, my very good friend. Actually, I was a beautiful lady he was talking about, in case you didn't know. I had to actually call him and say, sir, we are about starting and I need you to be here. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. That is the DG Lagos State Safety Commission. Please, another round of applause for him. Honorable Akeem Dixon, no protocol about him. Respected and distinguished Mr. Badebo, I've been speaking with him since morning. What a privilege to be sharing this podium with you, sir. You are welcome, sir. I have the head of school, the principal. Thank you for giving us this venue. I don't know whether the principal is here, Mr. David. Thank you so much, respected guests, renowned. In fact, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And then particularly, I want to say thank you to Ugochi. Ugochi, thank you. Thank you. Please, can we just give her a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. And she understands why I'm screaming this thank you. You know, when she told me that she was organizing this year's summit, and she told me the theme, I was so excited about the theme because it's something that truly we had neglected as a people, truly we had not looked into as a people. The truth is, believe it or not, these people are with us. They live in our word. We don't have two words. We have only one word, and they live with us. We've seen the video. The video is very real, and it is happening. This boy you saw, we have so many of him in Nigeria, and that is why we are here today, to discuss about these special needs people, our responsibility, as it were, as a nation. Each and every one of us seated here, we have a role to play. Believe it or not, you have a role to play. You have something to contribute. Now, we use the word special. And, you know, I wrote here when I was putting down the note and what I was going to talk about. When you say something is special, I want to believe that you take care of it. You give it some form of attention. You give it your time, your resources. So when you have someone or something that is special, we all know how we handle something that is special, don't we? We handle something that is special with so much care, with so much attention. We give it more devotion, more dedication. And we have these special people in our midst. My question now is, how much attention, how much devotion, how much commitment, how much time do we give to them? Because the truth is, that word special cannot be removed from them. They are special and they are with us. And because they are special, they are with us, we need to include them. The reason why that boy was able to release his potential was because he was not isolated. It was because he was not excluded. It was because someone took a little bit more attention. Someone gave him a little bit more of what? Care. And that was why that boy was able to release his full potential. One of the things that we're going to be learning today, and I believe that a fantastic panelists have been lined up, distinguished speakers that will do justice to this topic, is about inclusion in our various schools. And when you talk about inclusion, the question is, are we really ready to include these children in our normal, regular schools? When you talk about inclusion, you're basically saying that we want these people to come and study with us in the same normal school setting that every regular child will want to study in. And the truth is this: for any child to develop, and for any child to have a complete development, the child development is not just about education. You agree with me? The total child development goes beyond just what? Academics, goes beyond academics. You talk about the cognitive thinking, the mental development. You talk about the affective, the emotional development. We're just discussing and we're talking about the emotions of children. You know, mental development. We talk about the physical development in all respects, in all aspects. And now for them to have this total child development, there's a need for them to be included in our regular school. I read some research work that was done by some PhD students, and they went around very detailed reports that was done by some PhD students. and they went around to ask some questions from some teachers, and they asked them how this inclusion is working. And a teacher, I don't want to disclose, the research was done within the Southwest political zone, some of the states, about 5 or 6 states, and one of the teachers made a statement and said, I do not want to come too close to them. I do not want to take care of them, because if I come too close to them, if I take care of them, I'm a young person, I'm not yet married, I may have children like them. Wow. Wow. From a teacher. That tells you how far away we are to realizing the kind of problem that we have. We have a lot of problem with us. When I heard that, when I read that research work, I just stood still for a moment. From a teacher, if this is coming from a teacher, then we have so much to be desired concerning these children. I also spoke to another teacher. She actually worked with the Lagos State for 30 years. She's retired right now. And I wanted to find out from her what she understood by inclusion. And she said, we attended seminars. They told us about it in the various seminars. But we didn't quite understand exactly what to do when we came back to our various schools. So the truth is, we never really did anything. However, we had a class. We had classes 1 to 6. And we had a 7th class. And the 7th class we had was for them. And so we kept them all together in that class. And we had one teacher that was teaching all of them in that class. I know that school very well. That school has almost 7 different schools. And the only time that we relate with them is during the inter-house sports. We allow them to take part in some sports. I say, I thank God. But when it comes to including them in our normal, regular classrooms, we did not include them. Not because we did not want to include them, but because we don't know what to do. We don't know if we include them. I particularly do not know what to teach them. How do I use, if someone is visually impaired, how do I teach the person? If the person has hearing impairment, how do I teach the person? I don't understand what to do, so we didn't really do anything. And I stood still again. This is a teacher, and a very passionate teacher at that I taught in Lagos State for 30 years, and she does not understand what inclusion is all about. Please, another round of applause for Ugochi. It's a very thoughtful thing, because the truth is, for these people to release their full potential, we need to include them. Not just only talking about inclusion in terms of just education, we need to include them, bearing in mind some certain things we need to do. So let me just quickly run through some of the challenges. Do we have challenges, do you think? This summit is not just only about today. I believe it's going to set a tone for how we're able to frame our word, especially concerning the special needs children that live with us. Apart from the enlightenment, and then, of course, we need curriculum change. The current curriculum that they have, I don't think it's sufficient. I have some educators in our midst. They're going to talk, and I believe that one of the things they're going to talk about is the curriculum and the need for us to have a change in the curriculum. Our building, I read somewhere, and the building, the Lagos State Building Commission stated that there's a need for them to go around every building, especially schools, to begin to tell them to restructure the building. And I'm like, do we need to, pull down the schools, or how do we walk around them? Because the truth is, if we need to include these children in our educational system as it is right now, it's going to be a disaster. I'm a health and safety practitioner, and I cannot begin to imagine the health risk that will be involved, including them as it is right now. We need to plan. We need to plan. We need to plan. If we do not plan it, we are going to actually expose them to more hazard than what they are currently facing if you don't plan. I know that the schools for special needs children that we currently have probably have some plans in place for them, because that is what the school is meant for. But if we're talking about inclusion, then we need to begin to look at the public schools. Because the truth is, the public schools are the schools that are closest to these people, and of course, we need to get these public schools ready. But these schools, are they really ready? The way they are they really ready? Okay? I wrote down something here, and I said I was going to ask, for all the educators in our midst, when was the last time that we did a risk assessment of our facility? A risk assessment of our facility. A risk assessment of our facility. Yes. For us to have these children included in our midst. For me, as a health and safety professional, we need to have a risk assessment, a robust risk assessment that would actually begin to look at the potential hazards that we want to expose the children to. Otherwise, we may not be able to cater for these children adequately. We may not be able to cater for them adequately. I could go on and 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 on. We need to have safety policies in place. We need to have emergency preparedness and readiness plan in place. And when you talk about emergency, the only emergency we all think about is fire. Beyond fire, there are thousands of other emergencies. Structure collapse, flood, bomb explosion. Someone coming in to take the child is an emergency. It could be a potential emergency. We have to look at the kind of if you have a structure in a flood-prone environment, it's a potential emergency. We need to begin to look at this, and the only way we can actually begin to make people to key into this is through this kind of program, public enlightenment. We need to collaborate with the media for them to, blow up all this information. Because the truth is, if you don't have a robust emergency system in place, chances are that you are not prepared to cater for those children. Having an emergency plan in place is not just all about having an exit, having a ramp, and all of that. You need to have a policy on how you want to manage different emergencies. And this policy needs to be communicated to all the stakeholders that you need to work with. Safety is not cheap. Safety is also not expensive. Yes. If you think safety is expensive, then try ignorance, and you will know which one is more costly or which one is costlier. Every school educator, every school administrator, we need to employ a competent health and safety person that will man our schools. We need to have a certified first aider, someone that is competent to handle simple emergency and hold on until a proper emergency medical care comes. If you don't have all those things in place, it's going to be absolutely difficult for us to actually practice detailed inclusion. Something just occurred to me the other time, and I was just thinking about it. If I were to have a child and I'm to visit a school, what are the things basically I should look out for if I have a special need child? What are the things I should look out for? And one of the first things that crossed my mind is the visitor management policy. How do they manage these visitors? Some of them have speech impairments, hearing impairment. They may not be able to talk. How do you manage your visitors when they come around? Do you have any policy in place? Schools. Do you have any policy in place? I know for the public schools, it might be a very tall order because of the structure of the public schools, but it is doable. Do we believe that it is possible? Do we believe that it is possible? It is possible. The only way to have a solution to a problem is to first of all have a good understanding and definition of the what? Of the problem. When you have a good understanding and definition of the problem, then you begin to look at what? The solution and the way forward and the solution. The truth is, the word has made a declaration. I think there was this, if I'm correct, Salamanca, Lola, am I correct? There was this Salamanca declaration. And it was done in 1994, am I correct? That is how many years ago? 25 years ago. And so many countries of the world, they have moved on. Yes, they have moved on. We are in the world. Believe it or not, Nigeria is a very peculiar country, I know. But we must work, or we must move with the current trends and practices. We must adopt the use of technology. The world is moving at a very exponential speed, and we cannot afford to lag behind. Schools must have incident reporting and management procedure. They must be able to understand the trend of the incident that happens within the school premises and the school environment. I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty because there's a panel that will discuss more that in details. And more importantly, we need to begin to collect data. We also need to have data. If we don't have data in the next 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, the problem will keep staring us in the face. Because we need to work with what? Information. We need to work with what? We need to work with data. So I will begin to round up right now. And I just want to conclude by saying that I really want the framework to be implemented. Ugochi, please, if this can form part of your communique, I will be grateful. We need to advocate for that framework to be developed at the national level. And I believe that we have some fantastic... So it should not be a political appointment, please. I wish Mr. President can hear me. There are some offices that should not be for what? Political appointments. The framework advocates for chairmen and different people to man this commission. And then we need to volunteer. How many of us are willing to volunteer? How many of us are willing to volunteer? Recently, you know why I'm asking you this question? Because I've volunteered. Recently I volunteered. There's a group, they call themselves super parents. When I volunteered, the first question they sent me, long question. Do you have a special need child? Are you this? Are you that? Are you that? Are you that? I just humbly answered all of the questions. And I just started thinking. I said, wow. Despite the fact that I'm volunteering, look at all the security checks that they need to do before I was accepted. Please, you need to volunteer. You need to volunteer your time, your resources, your what again? Your time, your resources, your what? When I say resources, I mean money, so that you don't misunderstand now. Money, you need to volunteer because they really need your what? I have a story of a child. The child is physically challenged and cannot move. And every morning, the child has to be, more or less like propelled by the family members to school to and fro. And finally, a group of us decided to donate and were able to buy a wheelchair. What a transformation. What a transformation. If you see the joy, and then if you see the parent, it is so clear and so obvious that they are not able to, afford these chairs. And so this year, I have made up my mind. My birthday is going to be June 23rd. I don't know how many of you want to key in with me. I had made up my mind. I am going to look for a school, a special needs school, special need group. I have not made up my mind yet. I'm going to celebrate my birthday with them. I'm going to donate. Normally, every of my birthday, my husband plans, is a very romantic person. Don't look at me like that. He plans getaways and, we go out, getaways and all of that. And I sent him a text message a few days ago. I said, whatever it is you're planning for my birthday, please channel it to money. I need to do something different this year. There's a need. I want to key in. I want to celebrate my birthday with some special group of people. I want to make a change. I want to, just within that small space that I have, I'm not a very big woman, as you can see, right? I want to make a change. And I believe that we all seated here, we want to make a change. If I go on and on and on, I'm sure we will not leave here today. I have a very long note here, but I've not even gone through 10% of what I've written down here. Thank you so much, Ugochi, for inviting me. Thank you so much. I believe that at the end of this deliberation today, our nation will hear our voices, and our voices will not be heard in vain. An action plan will be better. Thank you so much.